Hey guys, it's the end of a long day here. We've got silence, and that's really nice because we're going through something a little bit more technical today. This isn't exactly a review, but I thought it'd be fun to get an overview because I've never seen so many ABUS locks in one location and such a great example of implementation. We're here at ElectriCity Ebikes in Washington, D.C. with Charlie McCormick.
Hey guys.
It's great to be here, man. And we got to look at this bike in particular, the Como, and I'm working on like the 3, the 4, and the 5 because they have several different models. You have the 5, right? This is kind of the high-end one?
This is the Como 5.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, this thing, Charlie has taken it from like just the bike to a bike with a deflopilator spring right here because he's loading up the front rack. He's got quad piston caliper, hydraulic disc brakes, multiple lights up there. We've got the Connect suspension seat post going on, added a rear rack with integrated light because this bike comes with like a light in the saddle initially. I mean, going through this for the review was tons of fun. Even these like, I guess they're special edition rims with the matching pedals. That's all great, but you might notice there's like a lot going on here with locks as well, right? Like that's all ABUS stuff. And the locking cylinder on the battery pack right here, that's also ABUS. And by getting all of the same like company and choosing specific models of locks, you're able to use just one key, and that is such a big deal. You know, I've got a backpack on, or maybe you've got a purse or something like that, and you're digging through, you're trying to figure it out. Having 2 keys is kind of annoying, but imagine having like 3 or maybe even 4 just for your bike. I mean, cars usually have 1 lock and maybe an additional lock for like a ski rack or something like that. Bikes, it's nice when you can get the bike dialed in just like this too. So I was just thrilled to see this. So I'm gonna come down here and get a little bit closer. That's called a cafe lock. You see this? So they actually drilled holes in the frame to mount this, and it puts that rod right through the spokes in the back wheel. And the idea is that if you go to a cafe and you can kind of see your bike parked outside, you could dash in, keep an eye on it, and no one can just hop on your bike and ride away. Sure, they could maybe use quick release to take your wheel, or quick release and take your fancy suspension seat post and saddle, or try, but they can't take your bike because it's sort of disabled. And then we've got the folding lock right here, and this is definitely a little bit more burly, and you can go around the frame. It's maybe the frame and the wheel, if you've got a quick release, so you get a few more options. But then you've got this awesome it kind of combines the two, right? It locks into the frame lock, cafe lock, and then it allows you to go around something bigger like telephone post or a tree and secure your front wheel. So there's some really great options here, and depending on how long you're planning to leave your bike outside or whatever, you could go from something kind of like lighter to heavier, and heavy duty, but also physically heavy. And you can see some of these locks are just, I mean, this thing is like really hardcore. Can you just walk me through what we've got up here, Charlie? Because there's a lot of locks going on.
There is, and I guess it depends on the area you live in, how much security you need. We're in Washington, D.C., and it can be, you can't have your bike at risk, and especially if you've invested a lot of money into a nice e-bike.
Right.
You don't want to come back and see you're heartbroken.
Now, and on that note, a lot of times when I'm doing reviews, I'm talking about taking your battery off your bike to save weight, but also to store that in a cool, dry location versus like maybe extreme cold or extreme heat. And a lot of times you want to charge your battery, but you might live upstairs, and then carrying your whole bike in, and you're bumping it on the door, and then if you're in a loft, like I really don't have a lot of extra space. So unfortunately, the best option is to leave the bike outside, but someone could still steal the frame. And so yeah, back to the locks.
Right.
The price of the bike here, this bike, I mean, we're talking multiple thousands of dollars. Some of these locks are kind of expensive, but
they are.
You don't want to, it's maybe worth it.
Well, you've invested so much in the bike already. Getting a good lock really is just sensible.
So you go something like this, right? Just gonna.
So people ask us, I mean,
what's the deal?
But any of these little thin, so this is any kind of, you've seen bolt cutters.
Yeah.
So basically, up until about 8 or 9 millimeters of thickness of chain, they can really take a pair of bolt cutters. In this case, maybe toe clip cutter,
nail clippers. Well, and people, I mean, I don't want to be like a fearmonger here, but I've seen people like have bolt cutters kind of in their pants as like a way to just kind of walk up and then, you know, go at it. And if you're storing a bike overnight, I'm trying to say, like, probably don't want to use this to lock your bike up. But is it almost like the equivalent of a cafe lock? It's just a quick, it's got like a 3 slot, you know, it doesn't even have a key.
I think this is something for a kid's bike, or for if you wanted to lock a seat or a helmet on your bike.
Oh, but that's a great point, because you don't want someone to steal the post. You could like loop through your saddle, and so it's like a seat lock,
it
a
could
leash.
Be. It could be. You could use one a nut fix on there too. That's replaces the bolt that goes through there. There's a lot of different ways to secure it.
Are you talking now about the wheel thing?
There's a wheel thing that also works. They also have one that you can lock
seat
your
post
seats.
clamp.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
that's frequently
And for
used.
those of you who haven't seen this, like the idea is you replace either, you know, the bolt that goes through here or the bolt that goes through here. And Charlie has a special trailer, so this looks funky. But basically, you can't unlock and get like a tool in there unless the bike is on its side. There's some sort of a gravity thing. And if you're at a bike rack, they can't physically move the bike on the side.
That's right.
Those are so cool. Does this use keys, or is it some other tool?
This one doesn't use keys. There's other versions that do, but from ABUS, they use that gravity system, which seems to work pretty good for most people.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, so moving on down, we have like a longer version, I guess.
I mean, these are all kind of very lightweight locks. Depending on the area you're in, that might be plenty of security. If we don't have that situation here in DC.
Okay, very diplomatically worded of you. Down here, let's focus on these chain locks. So why go with a chain?
So chain, you know, a lot of the attacks against bikes are done with leverage. And there's another way of using sort of power tools. Well, when you have a U-lock, you can kind of hold it in one place and take that power tool to it like a grinder.
I see.
A chain is just going to be really squirrely. You know, first of all, you have this cover, which doesn't look like much, but the power tools kind of skate off of that and get bounded up. But a chain is really hard for you to grind through. And then you have you have to get both sides of that chain.
Oh,
and
that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so just coming down to like, here's a link right here, and it even says ABUS.
These are
10
8 mil and 9 mil.
That is, yeah.
So they're pretty good.
2 cuts, and it's squirrely, like Charlie was talking about. That's interesting and flexible. So I like that the canvas, whatever this thing is on the outside, is going to protect your frame. Like you can see that over here. It's on his fancy rims and on these, you know, fenders and stuff. It's not going to mar the frame quite so much. One of the cool things we were looking at earlier, I was like, what is this? And you said it's kind of like a little pouch.
This is their chain bag. I mean, this is one of the struggles that you have with the chain, is that, you know, unless you're putting it in a bag or looping it around your waist, there's no real easy way to carry a chain.
Well, hey, no, I've seen people like go around their stem or their saddle.
Loop it around here.
It kind of looks ugly, I guess.
Well, and it also makes a racket. You know, you sound like a shopping cart going down the street.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So nobody wants that. And this allows you to mount this to either a water bottle or strap it to a tube.
Okay.
And that way you can keep that rattle trap problem, and it's nice and padded.
Yeah.
So it has the least amount of
Can we look in there?
janky sort of noise going on.
We got some stuff falling out. Interesting. Okay, thank you. I'd never seen that before, and it's just kind of cool to see. Maybe that's from your display up there. I guess, or is this goes in there because it's like the backing for when you bolt the. It probably goes in the bag.
Water bottle cage.
On the fly here, you guys. The goal again is just sort of education and just to see what's possible. The big story for me here is probably like that you can go key to like, that chains work really well in certain situations where you need a flexible and maybe you want to get a wheel and the frame and around a bigger post or something. And then these you know, U-locks, a second ago you were saying, yeah, you have to cut through the chain link in 2 places. That's starting to be the case here with these U-locks too, right? So I'm going to unlock this one. It's kind of a demo so you can see inside. There's like this little, like, see how those little arms go down, and then the roller is flexible and it goes out of the way. Both sides have to be unlocked. So this actually requires 2 cuts as well, while some of the cheaper U-locks, they didn't have to do that. It used to be you could just cut one side and then spin the other side or whatever. So this is I mean, you know, pretty cool setup. You have to go down a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. That's how it works, guys, right there. What's the deal with just different options? Like you've got tiny ones that fit in your back pocket and then long ones for a big bike?
Right, so there's, you know, obviously the bigger ones can get around more things, but there's also a philosophical and lightweight issue. So something like this, we encourage you to get the smallest lock you can, because they can have less room to get in there and get leverage, essentially. And you can also pair it with a chain. So if you wanted to have like the best of both, you could have a chain with a noose, like that kind of situation with a U-lock, because this is even stouter and beefier than you know, than the links of the chain.
Interesting.
So you're going to be grinding through that like 3 times as long before you get through there. So
well, and depending on the situation, it's like quick stop, and then, you know, 2 of them when it's a little bit longer, maybe your class or your work, or something like that. I think, speaking for myself, I've used a U-lock with a longer cable, and then I've had a second cable because I do often lock my saddle. I just don't want to come back and have that gone. The other application here, the really long one, you guys carry some of these cargo bikes over here. You know, and they're really awesome, but they don't always get as close to like bike racks. You know, it's sort of hard to figure out, like you're crowding the rack, maybe you're off to the side, and then you're trying to figure out, am I going to go through the tubing? Where do you go through the tubing? So there's a little bit more thought. Maybe you park it backwards, but having that longer U gives you more options, especially when combined with the cables. Do you have any advice for this?
I mean these are, I've had a lot of challenges myself with locking mine. Most of these have an immobilizer, and that's the first
frame lock
defense,
again.
but it's not the first. You need a primary lock too, for the most part. So that will be usually in addition to a primary lock, like a chain lock or a U-lock. But yeah, getting it close enough and getting a lock that's long enough. So it is a bit fiddly to get this bike, these long cargo bikes, next to something close enough that they can be secure.
You know, there's ABUS and then there's AXA. Am I saying that right? AXA. Kind of depends on what region of the country you're in, maybe. We were talking about the Specialized stuff, and he's like, yeah, S-Works. And I was like, S-Works? You know, so it's all potato, I guess. But, you know, here's that frame lock we were showing on Charlie's bike and the one that comes on some of those Reese and Mueller bikes over there. Not all of them have that slot for the additional chain. And also, some of them require you to, like, leave the key in once it's inserted. Not all of them let you pull it out, and that is so annoying to me.
Key retaining is more the European standard. Then they come in 2 different versions, which, yes, it's kind of annoying, but yeah, if you put a little something bright on there to remind you that not to walk away. But I guess the idea is, whenever you're leaving your bike, you should lock it. That's
the theory behind it. For me, it's like, well, great, now you have a key that's not on a keychain that's going to get lost in your pocket. So there's trade-offs. I don't know. The European people are smart. It's just different habits, I guess. But it's so cool to see that you do have 2 options and that you can put a frame lock onto a bike that didn't come with it. Like, you guys drilled that out. That was something. We did. And that's the benefit of a shop that has the tools, that has the experience. This is really a showpiece bike. I mean, it's really fantastic.
It's a great bike.
Love it. So I feel like we've covered this section. What's going on over here, Charlie?
So this is some of the more, ABUS is probably on the frontier of e-bike specific locking solutions. So they actually offer a package that includes a replacement locking cylinder for your particular brand of battery. So this one's an ABUS, this one's a Bosch down tube cylinder, so your bike shop can go ahead and have this lock in stock. You know, one of the 6000 series Bordeaux locks, that's a folding lock like this. And they stock it with this key cylinder, and so your shop can go ahead and replace that in your battery.
Okay, so what I'm hearing here is that a lot of times if you buy a bike with the Key Plus code card, you can special order a lock, but that can take a while. And, you know, some of these shops actually stock different cylinders, so they can just hot swap that on your bike. So you've immediately got a key to, like, lock, and now you've got a brand new cylinder for your bike. And what's this one for?
This is Shimano.
Shimano, like the rack battery that slides in the back. And then how about this one?
This one's Specialized. So this Specialized doesn't Nobody offers this as a off the shelf right now. So we actually collect, because we sell so many Specialized bikes, we swap them out. So we keep these. We order from Germany this lock pairing, one of these locks, the frame locks, and one of the extra long, extra heavy duty Bordeaux locks.
Cool. Is that one of the most popular ones for you guys, or what?
This is right now the one we recommend for people in DC, and you know, if they just want to have 100% peace of mind, it just doesn't get any better than this solution.
The triple threat.
It is.
And then you sell the chain with this one too, like you got on your bike?
Chain, exactly.
Okay, so that's the setup that we basically looked at over here. That is so cool to me because we were talking about this earlier. Someone spends several $1,000s on a bike and you could lose it. Like someone recently broke into my car and stole some of my stuff, and that's no fun.
It's no fun at all.
You know, there's insurance, but then there's the headache of going through and filing, and you know, you've got a deductible and everything. So a $500 deductible, that's what I had. And these locks are not $500, so it might be a good idea to grab one.
It feels like an insult and an invasion. You know, when you put your heart, you get a broken heart. People get broken hearts over their bike getting stolen, and it's sad.
Yeah, it is. You know? If you're missing out on rides and the fun. Like, it's about the experience. So another point that came up while we were packing up here is that you know, these plus code card things, they've got this number. Charlie was saying they keep really you pretty organized on those.
We are, and we have to be, because nobody wants to be stuck without their battery key, right?
And the point is, you can go online. You can basically you can order new keys.
You can.
And additional keys.
And it's the same one you would do. It's not just through your dealer. If you wanted to get a key to your existing e-bike, you wanted to get a key to lock set, you'd need to have this number, and then you can order the keys, the key to lock sets. But you can also order extra keys.
That is so cool. And you guys I guess you include that in the folder when you sell a bike, so people kind of have a backup of.
That's right. They get this entered into their customer file, and we write it pretty much everywhere we can, because otherwise we have to drill out your lock.
Yeah, that's no fun. Have you had to do that much?
I've had to do that.
High five. Boom. That's what I'm talking about, buddy. Making it happen. What were you saying about the frame lock?
I was saying, so even though you may not be in a big bad city where it's high theft concerns, please lock your bike even when it's inside your garage, because what'll happen is, what we hear from clients is that, you know, their bikes were in their garage, somebody broke into the house, saw the bikes in the garage, and then rode off with their bikes.
Or the kids open the garage, and then next thing you know, the bikes are gone. That's a really good point.
So this little lock here, which is common on most of the premium European brands like Reese & Mueller, Gazelle, this usually comes with one of these cafe locks, but you can also get it mounted on nearly any bike.
Yeah.
We do the mounting with the riv nuts, but there's also a little, almost like a zip tie adapter that goes on there. And if the wheel is locked within this triangle, you kind of can't get the wheel.
It's just going to crank up against the,
you can't,
seat stays and the chain stays.
Exactly.
Right there. Okay, so that was good. I didn't even think about that because I don't have a garage. And I just want to call out this really fancy yuppie, like Centium. It comes in a wooden like cigar box or something.
I think this is because I believe it's the 100-year or something anniversary. So they did more of a you know, Brooks saddle type thing with leather and polished alloy body. It must be steel. This must be steel.
And then it's coated. All these are like kind of rubberized so you don't get banged up too much. Just thought that was kind of neat. Just another call out, you know, if you've got like the Brooks saddle and the really beautiful bike. I guess the final call out here, ABUS was nice enough to give me a helmet a while back. They did not give me this one. They gave me some other one that's cool. It has a light on the back. So you just press this button and it's solid or it's flashing. Now there's a rechargeable, like, you know, it looks like a micro USB charging port. Mine didn't have that. I have to like take it out and like have a, you know, disposable coin battery. And this one also has like the cover. Can you show the cover, Charlie? Sure. It's kind of this little...
Very clever rain cover. Takes a little bit the first time.
Yeah.
It's a little stiff.
There you go.
So this folds out like this. I'm going to put it on the table.
Go for it.
So it's got reflective stripes already in there, and this hooks in to the corner of your helmet.
Almost got it there.
And I mean, it's just a simple little cover, which you can buy separately for a helmet, but you pretty much lose those immediately, like a regular helmet cover.
Yeah.
And this one you can't lose because it's integrated in.
And it's not going to cover the light up.
That's right.
Like that's such a. This is so cool. This is is this the Pedelec or what do they call it?
This is the Pedelec 2. They following on the very successful Pedelec from last year, and it's probably our most popular, best-selling helmet for e-bike riders because it's been designed from the jump to be an e-bike helmet. It's
got those reflective sides and the reflective like line right down the center of the straps. Magnetic buckle, got the tiny little visor.
Plus you have this stuff down here for where all the important bits on your head are. The
like it extends a bit.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. And
that's right.
It's this tough. It's not like if you look at most helmets, they're kind of like a beer cooler foam like that, and that'll get all dinged up like over time. So this one holds up a little better. That's awesome. Yeah. So, and isn't this one e-bike rated up to like 45 kilometers per hour or something? It's under the European standards. They have to test them up until whatever it is, 45 kilometers an hour. I think so. That's class 3. So I don't know. So shout out, thank you to ABUS. They did send me that helmet for free a while back. So I really go by these like influencer marketing guidelines because I'm trying to do a review and be transparent with you guys, but this is very promotional. I mean, I just think it's cool. It's neat to hang out with Charlie. I'm learning, you're learning. Love you guys. Hope you have fun out there. Chime in if there's something I missed or got wrong or whatever. And big thanks to ElectriCity Bikes in DC. These guys have been great. Have fun out there, ride safe. We'll see you next time. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Charlie. Thank you.